I'm Julie Fei-Fan Balzer, and I get a lot of questions about file types. What can you bring into the ScanNCut? What can you bring into ScanNCut Canvas? What can you cut with? And today, I'm going to demystify a bunch of that stuff for you. So let's get started. So the first type of file that we're going to talk about is the kind of file you get out of a word processing program. So that's going to be a doc file or a PDF or anything like that. Now those files cannot be read electronically, meaning you cannot bring them into ScanNCut Canvas and you cannot bring them in via USB. But the fantastic news is you can use the built-in scanner in the ScanNCut to transform those files into cutting files. And if you're interested in learning how, just watch my video on how to scan in your designs to create your own cutting files. So the second type of file type I want to talk about is image files that are really picture files. And what I mean by that is there are two kinds of image files. The first is pixel-based and the second is vector-based. If that's super confusing, do not worry, I'm going to explain it all. So pixel-based files are JPEGs, PNGs, GIFs or GIFs, however you pronounce it. And what those files are made out of is pixels or squares. And they're built into squares. Now, whatever you take that photo at or draw that image at, that is the final resolution of it. So if you grow it, then you're essentially stretching the pixels. So you can imagine that what looks like a straight line when it's tiny, when you make it really, really big, it becomes super jagged. So those files you can convert over to cutting files using ScanNCut Canvas, and again, I have a video on exactly how to do that. It's called Changing a JPEG to an FCM file. So file type number 3 is those vector files that I talked about. So what is a vector? Well, a vector is essentially a point, and vector files are made up of a whole series of vectors or points, and what those points do is they tell the computer how to connect the 2 points. So if there's a point here and a point there, then there's a line between them. Now here's what you can imagine, which is no matter how far apart, how big you make that file, that line is still going to be totally straight because it's not actually really in the file, it's the points that are actually making up the file. So these are the ideal cutting files. And so that's actually what SVG files are, and FCM, which is the proprietary file that the ScanNCut cuts. Now, I know a lot of times you look for FCM files on your computer. Maybe you save them from ScanNCut Canvas and you can't see a preview. It just has the name of it, and there's nothing there. And there's no program on your computer that can open FCM files. This is totally normal. The only program that can read them is ScanNCut Canvas or the ScanNCut itself. So with those files, I like to save them into ScanNCut Canvas so that I can see them and have them and all that kind of stuff. Now your machine will actually read SVG files as well as FCM files on a USB thumb drive, or again through ScanNCut Canvas. So there's so many different ways you can bring in those awesome vector files. I hope that this has answered some of your questions about different file types. If you want to learn more about importing each of these types of files, I have videos on my YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe, and of course visit my website at balzerdesigns.typepad.com, and there's lots more information at ScanNCut.com.